Okay, we're live, but we got to let it breathe just for a second. Got to make sure we have Facebook online with us and that we're getting 5 beautiful green check marks, and we're good. Welcome in, everybody, to the Huddle Up podcast, presented as always by Mile High Huddle, powered by Overtime Media. This is, of course, an impromptu instant reaction episode here, sitting here at halftime. Broncos, Chiefs. Zach, the Broncos are trailing 24-9. We'll get into it. We'll see what's on everyone's mind in the stream because we only have about 12 to 15 minutes to really get into this. But what comes off the top of your head immediately?
The Broncos are getting outclassed in all 3 phases. And it happens. They're playing the reigning world champs. And let me put this out there now, lest I be labeled a Drew Lock apologist. He's not playing well in today's game. He's missing easy throws. He's throwing off his back foot. He's not getting rid of the ball. He's playing like a young quarterback. But this is a rhetorical question. Maybe aside from Philip Lindsay, who is really playing well in today's game? Did Vic Fangio have the Broncos prepared to take on the Kansas City Chiefs today? I don't know that the preparation was better than last week's. It seemed like this was a completely different Broncos team. I understand the snow. I understand the opponent. I understand the injuries and all that. But where is the same fight? Where is the same aggressiveness? The arm tackling on defense. The special teams disasters yet again. Fire Tom McMahon. Why is he still the coordinator? Where is the accountability? No one is really performing well aside from Philip Lindsay. And again, Melvin Gordon, you pay the guy $8 million a year and he fumbles. He does nothing overly well that Lindsay cannot do. So it's just been a crap show all around. It happens, Chad. Hopefully the second half is more competitive, but this is why the Chiefs are the Chiefs, and I guess this is why the Broncos are the Broncos right now.
What frustrates me is this. I mean, the Broncos defense from an energy level and an execution level, they're mostly keeping it. They're doing what they would need to do. If you're going to try and contain the Chiefs, they're doing for the most part, outside of a few passing plays and those 4 missed tackles on Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's touchdown run, they're doing a good job keeping it pressured without having to blitz, and they're holding it together. They're doing about as good as you could expect to do against, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. It's the shooting yourself in the foot with allowing that 102-yard kick return. Drew Lock, of course, that pick 6, and that's one of those plays that you see that type of pick often in the NFL. And he was pressured. He was hit as he threw. He was probably throwing early because he knew it was coming, and the DB just made a phenomenal play. But this is one of those games we talked about, gang, and we're going to get straight into your super chats right now. But this is one of those games, we talked about this going into week 7, that if the Broncos were going to have a snowball's chance in this one, it was a no margin of error. I can think of 3 major errors. All right, the kick return, Zach, the 2 turnovers, you mentioned the Melvin Gordon fumble plus Locke's turnover, which also was a pick 6. Those 3 major mistakes, Zach. If you don't make those mistakes, this is probably a tied or plus the Brandon McManus missed extra point. You just can't do that and expect to beat the Chiefs. Let's grab Tom here, Zach. He says, how about the checkdowns, Drew? Really disappointing. Mahomes really has done nothing special. We're not ready yet. Zach, before I serve this over to you, I think this team, it's not even that the Chiefs are playing that great. The Broncos are obviously, the Chiefs are living in the Broncos' heads. That's what I see in this. The Broncos can't get out of their own way. There's some kind of bad juju that seems to be consuming this team right now.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say they're playing down to the level of their competition, but they're treating the Chiefs, they're putting them on this pedestal. And then mentally and psychologically, Chad, when you concede to your opponent that we know you're better than us, it doesn't give them a good chance to come out and beat them, even at home. And I disagree with the defense playing lights out. I think they're playing good, mostly bend but don't break, but Mahomes is still making the throws he has to make to put points on the board. The arm tackling on defense, some of the rushing gap blown assignments, it's just not a technically sound afternoon first half of football for Denver. And again, where was this Broncos team? Where is the Patriots, the team they beat the Patriots with? Where is the same intensity? Where is the same want to? I understand it's Mahomes, better offense, better team. It's just not – this is the weeks 1 through 4 Broncos, not the week 6 Broncos.
This is a Broncos team that is thinking too much about the fact that they haven't beat the Chiefs in 9 previous matchups. Like it's big brother, little brother dynamic, and they're letting it affect their play on the field. And good teams – I mean, guys, think back to when Peyton Manning was your quarterback and the Broncos were a juggernaut. Good teams, sometimes they don't all actually have to do all that much when bad teams or teams who aren't as good shoot themselves in the foot know how to capitalize on that momentum. It just builds, and it's not even really something that the other team has done all that well. It's just a matter of knowing how to exploit your opponent's mistakes. J Fig Vids jumping in. Appreciate you, my friend. He says Locke is overthrowing, missing checkdowns, and the defense is playing pretty good, minus the TD run. Pick was great. The pick was great defensive play. Really upset with the offense, though. Yeah, Locke is not playing with poise. He is playing rushed. He's not seeing the field. He's missing wide open receiver, Zach. And then when he does throw, he's just not on target today. And before I serve this over, this is only the second time in his career he's played in the snow as a quarterback ever, all time. Going all the way back to high school, this is only the second time he's played in the snow, both times against the Chiefs.
And let me throw it out there. That's a good point you make. It's also his 9th career start. And again, I'm not being a Drew Lock apologist today because he's not playing well at all. This is more like a very raw rookie quarterback than a guy in his 2nd season trying to be the franchise. 9th career start. Broncos fans knew going into this year there was going to be growing pains, Chad. There was going to be a lot of good, but also a lot of bad. This is not a game manager. This is not an Alex Smith type. This is a raw gunslinger who's very limited, very talented, but very low floor as well. And the Broncos fans, Broncos country, should have known what they were getting going in. It's all about his development. Fortunately, Locke learns by doing, not by sitting and watching. So these mistakes will actually make him a better quarterback. If you're still in on number 3, which Broncos country still should be, you have to trust the process with a young quarterback. This is part of that process.
Guys, also keep this in mind, and we got to really mosey through all these great supers, but you got to keep in mind, Trent Green is calling this game again. He hates the Broncos. This is a guy, like, hands down, this is the worst color guy to call for the Broncos. He just hates him. He's a lifelong Chief, and his bias and emotional investment comes out clearly. And he's talking about Drew Lock and making him look worse than he is. He's not playing well. He's not playing great, but he's making him sound and look a lot worse than he is, the color guy. Dale jumping in with a very generous super. Love you, my friend. He says, I hate what I'm seeing. Last year, the ball was coming out quick, spreading the ball around. Now, Locke keeps looking down the field when there are massive plays underneath. I think this is the offense, not necessarily Locke. That's a good point. The offense, and I think you could be onto something there, Dale. The other thing to keep in mind, Zach, is why on that pick 6, the Broncos are rolling on the ground with Phillip Lindsay, just picking up huge chunk yards. Then they go looking for a deep shot on first down. All right, that's fine. Play action. It's not there. It's a weird overthrow. And then they go empty on second down. That's where the pick comes in. Why are you not leading with what is getting you there? Why are you not being smart enough to take what the defense is giving you, both Drew Lock underneath, to Dale's point, and Shermer as a play caller?
Yeah, I mean, the answer there is the coaching. And I hate to dump on Shermer because Locke is looking so bad today. But again, putting him in those situations, Chad, as you just pointed out. Also, after Gordon's fumble, who was the running back on the ensuing series? Melvin Gordon, when Phillip Lindsay is running so well. So Locke hasn't played well, but for another week, he's not getting bailed out by good coaching. And Chad and I both said if they had any chance in this game, Pat Shermer would have to go toe-to-toe with Andy Reid. It was always an uphill battle, but he's losing that badly right now. And I don't understand, Chad, the way he's being handled, Locke, as a potential franchise quarterback from a noted quarterback whisperer like Pat Shermer.
Mike Evans jumping in. Love you, my friend. Bonafide superstar. He concurs with Zach. I hate to say it, but we need a new special teams coach. Zach, and it is what it is. The Broncos special teams, it's just one of those, it's just a unit that continues to spring leaks. When you least can afford for it to happen, it happens. It's on the coordinator. It wasn't great execution, but it's on the coordinator, and it is what it is.
Everyone got worse, though, since McMahon took over. The punting got worse. McManus got worse. They can't cover on kicks, on punch. I mean, if they're going to fire Scangarello, we'll hold him accountable. I said this last December. I put it on Twitter. Why not fire McMahon as well? He needs to go. He needs to be the scapegoat. It's time.
Carlos says, appreciate the super. He says, Locke is a hot mess. He's not a rookie anymore, and that's a fair point. Let me also grab Duke here because we don't have a lot of time. What's good, big dogs? Just showing some love, man. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah, Locke's not a rookie, and that's fair. But I think, guys, what we're doing, what you got to keep in mind here with Locke is there is a huge emotional barrier. And what I'm seeing today shows me that he's not ready to overcome it with the Chiefs. All the family stuff, the Chiefs fan stuff, growing up a Chiefs fan, the being from Kansas City, all those storylines and this emotional, thunderhead that builds up. Drew Lock is showing that he's not good enough to weather it quite yet. I don't think he's experienced enough. He hasn't been down the road far enough to disassociate from it and just go out there and play football without putting on all these additional added expectations and pressures.
I mean, but he's technically not a rookie, but it's his 9th career start. If he was in a normal season, it would have been 16 games under his belt already. So he really is like a rookie. And he's coming out in this game, not to make excuses again, but it's questionable play calling. Still doesn't have Cortland Sutton. He's in the snow facing an underratedly good defense in Kansas City. It wasn't the best matchup for him, but he showed last week when given equal playing field for the most part, he can do enough to help the Broncos win. He can be what the Broncos need under center.
Miguel, appreciate you, my friend, and that super chat. Let me grab Joshua. Appreciate the super chat as well, my friend. His point here is coaching. Locke can't throw deep every single play. Route concepts are trash.
Yes.
How many 2 routes are we going to run? LOL. Terrible. Yeah, you can see that it's almost like Shermer. Locke came out of last week saying this whole aggressive vertical attack, that's here to stay. And on one hand, I like that. But the one thing you can't disagree with Trent Green is when it's there underneath, you got to take what the defense gives you. I don't know if he's straight up missing those wide open guys, Zach, or if he's being told, this is what we need here. Look for this deep shot or this deep post or whatever. Real quick, Kevin also said the defense isn't bad. It's special teams, a Gordon fumble, and a pick six. People are giving up on Locke. Locke has made a few bad decisions, but come on. Yeah, I mean, anyone who's given up on Locke, I'm sorry to tell you, you're jumping off the boat way too soon. The Chiefs are a juggernaut, and it doesn't matter if you're Tom Brady or Drew Brees. If you want to beat the Chiefs, you got to play mistake-free football. That just hasn't happened today.
Right. It's like beating the Patriots back when they were a dynasty. To beat them, you have to be 100% flawless to have any chance. And the Broncos were the furthest thing from that. And I see the comments on the side. People say I'm a stand for Drew Lock and I'm defending him. Again, I'm the first one to say he is not playing well today. It is unacceptable play by Drew Lock as the potential face of the franchise. It's unjustifiable. But those underneath routes we were talking about, we said it. I said it last week. We said it a couple weeks ago. This is a Pat Shurmur problem. He has to recognize it underneath Drew Lock when it's there, but he has to have more play calling that suits his confidence and his way of playing. Nothing underneath the Hamler, nothing underneath the Judy, nothing underneath the fan. To throw a 20-yard pass on 3rd and 4 in the red zone is inexcusable, Chad, and we've seen it every single week. That's the bone I have to pick with Pat Shurmur.
Guys, the Denver Broncos, and by the way, thank you, Jesse, says offensive passing game is weak. It's horrible. Guys, the Broncos have outgained the Chiefs on the total 230 yards to 159 yards, okay? On the ground, if you would have told me going into this game, hey, the Broncos would have 121 rushing yards in the first half, what do you think the score would be at halftime? I wouldn't tell you that they're down by 15 points. I wouldn't have guessed that. But it's the mistakes. Again, guys, we can sit here and point to Drew Lock doesn't seem to be ready. There's something going on, play calling, special teams. But it really, up to this point, the story of the game so far, the Broncos could have survived everything else. It's the shooting themselves in the foot and the interceptions and the fumble and the special teams. Colton says, you guys are talking about everything I wanted to comment on. I just want to support a little. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Means a lot to us, my friend. All right, we don't have a whole heck of a lot more time, so let's rapid fire through our remaining Super Chat superstars who are supporting what we're doing here and keeping the conversation going. Bison M says, appreciate you, Bison. He says, I'm getting a drummer as well. I didn't realize you were a drummer, my dog. That's cool. I'm getting so sick of people giving up on Locke. Let him finish the season before all of you write him off. I'm still seeing a winning season. Zach, I'll sit here and make a lot of excuses for Locke. I'm sorry. You guys can call me a homer. I'll throw your darts. It's all good. Drew Lock is in his 9th start. He's in a snow game, the second of his entire career as a quarterback, dating back to freaking Pee Wee. And he's playing the best team in the league and a team that brings some emotional baggage along with it. And he's received not a lot of help from his running back fumbling and from his special teams giving up a touchdown. You take away the fumble, you take away the special teams return. This is still a game within striking distance for Locke coming out of 2 quarters where he didn't play that great, Zach.
Yeah, I mean, he says finish off the season. Let him finish off the game and then render an opinion. Even that is way too premature. Let him have one full season, and he still won't have that in his first couple years in the NFL, one full starting season. Again, he's far from perfect today. He's far from good today, but you have to look at all the factors at play here and just let him try to prove himself. One way or the other, the Broncos have to know by the end of the year, is Locke the guy? So nothing can come bad with his experience. And the same Broncos fans who have it in their minds already, Locke's not the guy, are the same ones championing Justin Herbert, who has 0 career wins. So I'm shrugging that off, right off my shoulder.
KP jumping in again. Thanks, buddy. He says, if we know Locke loves to throw off his back foot and scramble, can't we say it's bad coaching and Locke's inability to stand in the pocket? He's had pockets. Step up. Kevin, yes, I think there are a few points, especially after the pick six, where he did not stand tall in the pocket. And he, especially, I can think of twice on that last drive, that last series, where he just broke the pocket too early. He was getting skittish. He says, prepare Lock properly and he will produce. I think it is a combination of things. But again, guys, if you really boil it down, it's the Chiefs. They're a juggernaut. If you don't play mistake-free football, you're not going to have a chance.
And what did I say about it's not just Lock's supporting cast, it's not just what Lock does on the field statistically, it's his confidence, it's his mental and emotional. And the Broncos play calling, not to make an excuse, but the Broncos play calling is not putting him in a rhythm. It's not stacking completions. It's not giving him confidence and momentum. Nothing underneath, nothing high percentage. It's all shots to the sideline, down the field. That is on Pat Shurmur to me. That is where the coaching fails Drew Lock. The on-field play, that's on Lock, but the way he's being handled and managed, that's on the coaching staff.
Yeah, there are some, as Jay points out here, thanks for the super, he says Lock doesn't set his feet ever and poor mechanics. There are some issues with Lock's play. The footwork stuff and setting his feet, that I don't think is ever going to change. I think he's just one of those guys that plays loose and off script and off,
Right.
It's just the way it's going to be. You just hope that he can, make more hay than he hurts himself. And I think for the most part, throughout his career, he's been able to do that as a quarterback. But against teams like the Chiefs, again, you got to play disciplined ball, and we're not seeing that.
I mean, but we all, or I shouldn't say we all, Broncos country right now is destroying Drew Lock, but yet none of the criticism for Pat Shurmur, who's supposed to be the quarterback guru. They hired him to develop Drew Lock. They hired Shula as well to develop Drew Lock. So to say the coaching staff is blameless here, I can't get on board with that.
I put as much blame on Pat Shurmur for that pick six as I do Drew Lock. That shouldn't have been a throw there anyway. And if you are going to throw it, why are you going out of empty when you're absolutely dominating on the ground, especially on that drive? Naj jumping in. Appreciate you, my friend, as the game kicks back off here. Looks like we had a sack on first down, which is good to see.
He's stepping up, Malik Reed. He's looking good lately.
Oh, completely agree with Chad. I don't think mentally the Broncos believe they can beat the Chiefs. This showing on top of the end of the Pats game has to hurt Lock's confidence. Yeah, and this is one of those METTLE moments for Lock. Even in a loss, how do you come back from this? Can you rally? Can you overcome some of your foibles early? Or are you just going to be, let it come apart at the seams? That's going to be curious to see how, what his football character internally is when it comes to adversity in game.
We saw it last year, though. He lost to the Chiefs, and he came back the next week and beat the Raiders to close out the season. So we've seen Drew Lock come back from adversity, and even last week, coming back from the injury, upsetting the Patriots, he's shown capable of that, and he just has to get some help, I think, from his skill players and his coaching staff, and also himself. He has to play better. Let's make no mistake about that. Lock has to play better.
Looks like the Broncos got a 3-and-out, forced a 3-and-out on the Chiefs' opening drive of the second half. Let me grab a few more here and we'll dip out. Lindsey runs hard from Boise, man. Lindsey runs hard, but with his frame and injuries stacking up, you have to start questioning his durability, which sucks because Melvin Redenbacher can't hold on to the ball and is running uninspired. Yeah. I mean, I think he's solid, but he's not worth $8 million a year. And that's something Zach and I have been saying for 9 months?
And a reminder, guys, Lindsey's making $750,000 this season. So a little discrepancy there.
Big time. All right, couple more guys. We might end up getting some of these on the other side because we don't want to take you away from the game here. But Mr. Castillo jumping in. Appreciate it. He says, thanks for giving us a place for Broncos country to vent these games, these frustrating games, #state of being. Zach, we're going to keep showing up if you guys keep showing up. That's just the way it is. We love this as much as you do.
Absolutely. It looks like Lindsey's out for the rest of the game, though, so that doesn't bode well for the Denver offense. Let's see Melvin earn the money right now, though.
Jaden Torres jumping in. Appreciate it. He says, on that interception, we should have ran the ball. We were running down their throats. I agree, man. That was a tactical that's a tactical decision, and the fault therein is on Pat Shurmur, Zach, undeniably.
It's just so funny how Broncos country, it has to blame one or the other. They have to blame Lock or Pat Shurmur. It can be both, and it is both in this case, Chad.
Let's grab Brian. He says, sorry, guys. Appreciate you, BG. Lock is not a franchise quarterback, and I'm pretty sure he'll never be. Sucks watching another crap offensive season, and we're still looking for another QB in 2021. Ugg, stop defending him, please. If that's what you're looking for, if you're looking for someone to just torch Lock on this stream, BG, you're not gonna enjoy yourself, my dog. We don't see it the way you do. And jump into a conclusion like that. What are you measuring it against? Patrick Mahomes? You're measuring against the outlier of all outliers in Patrick Mahomes. Again, the outlier of all outliers when it comes to quarterbacks coming out of college and hitting the ground running. Never been done before in the history of the NFL. Like he is the unicorn. And you're going to compare Locke because he's struggling in his ninth start in the snow, second snow game, to Patrick Mahomes and go, oh, he's not Patrick Mahomes. We don't have a franchise quarterback. BG, I would say that you're off there, my friend. You know I love you, but your analysis there is not on point.
Everyone's entitled to their opinion out there. If you guys don't think Locke's a franchise quarterback, I'm not there yet either. I don't think Chad is there yet either. I can't talk today, but we're not throwing him out with the bathwater either. We're not writing him off as a bust. Yeah, way too early, way too premature.
It's too early. All right, guys, keep your chin up. The Broncos just got a 3-and-out to open up the second half. Zach and I will be back in the saddle immediately following this game for the gut reaction, where we're going to have a lot more time. We can let our hair down, really dive into the storylines coming out of this. We'll see what kind of metal Drew Lock, Pat Shurmur, and that offense without Phillip Lindsay in the second half has. What do you expect to see real quick, Zach, and then we'll sign off.
I would hope to see some points on the board, but let me just say this, and I wrote this in my pregame prediction for today's game. The litmus test they have to pass today. It can be passed without winning. So if they make this competitive, if they put some points on the board, if Locke steps up and overcomes the adversity and the mettle and shows that, like you said, the defense keeps playing well, I will be okay with a loss. It's how they lose, not necessarily if they win.
By the way, what is the injury for Lindsay?
Concussion, no? Head injury?
I thought it was a shoulder for some reason. Someone was talking about it holding his arm. But yeah, Melvin Gordon, just not the same runner with the inside-outside zone. He doesn't have the same vision that Lindsay does. And the Broncos are going to regret, well, I guess in this case, it's not by no fault of their own that Lindsay has gotten hurt in week 1 and now in week 7 and hasn't been available. But durability is going to be a question now, Zach, for Phillip Lindsay. This is unfortunate. But we got to sign off for now, guys.
That sucks too, right there.
Not good. Nice gain on second down, second and long. We pick it up. All right. Okay, guys, we're going to sign off for now. And by the way, we are working up a structure here in the very near future where we're going to start doing some watch-alongs with you guys during the game. Instead of just coming at halftime and only a post-game, Mile High Huddle, we're going to do some watch-alongs. It's going to be a lot of fun where we're kicking it with you, watching the game, the entire game. We're not quite there yet. We're still working out a few kinks on how exactly we want to present that as a piece of content. So stick with us. But guys, whatever you do, don't forget, we're back here immediately following the game for the gut reaction. We'll have the link up here in about an hour. So stay tuned for that. Shout out, Mile High salute to all our Super Chat superstars. Guys, if we didn't get to your, big game by Hamler here. If we did not get to your question or comment or topic in this instant reaction, remember, we only have 12 to 15 minutes and we ran 7 minutes long because our superstars are the greatest. All right, Zach. We'll see you on the other side, my friend. Love you guys. See you in about an hour and a half. For Zack Kelberman, I'm Chad Jensen. We'll talk to you then.